Oh, it's so good to be back in the studio, guys. Cheers, everybody. I didn't cling. Today is Thursday, February 22nd, and I am back in my studio. Oh, it feels amazing. If you've missed my last vlog, I was in Florida for the past 4 weeks, and that includes travel time because we traveled by car. I was helping out a friend who has sold her house, and yeah, and although the trip was amazing, I had time to rest. We shopped. The weather was amazing. Super humid though. Apparently we had record temperature for that time of year. It was warm and humid, and I was in excellent company. It's always good to be home. Home is home, right? And besides the people, my kids and my friends, I've missed my studio the most. So it's good to be back today. Good to be back recording. I thought I was going to be able to get back into the swing of thing as of Monday. I've been back since Sunday afternoon. But I don't know if it's the change of temperature. Diana and I both kind of felt it the same way when we arrived in Florida. Both of us felt crappy, almost as if we were to get a cold or the flu, because our whole body was aching. So it took us about, I would say for me anyways, it took me about 3 to 4 days to get back to normal, to feeling like myself again. And I seem to have done the same thing when I've arrived here, because for the past 2 days I felt really, really crappy, to the point where I had to take Tylenols, and I don't take Tylenols unless I'm really hurting, but everything was aching. So I thought, oh, here we go. It's the flu that I was fighting off in Florida. But today I feel fine. So maybe it's the adjustment to the temperature, and also being in a car for, well, not 25 consecutive hours, but days like 10 hours driving, stopping over for, for the night, and then 10 more hours driving and stopping for another night, and then finally the last leg, which is about 5 to 6 hours. I guess it takes its toll on people. I don't know. I've never experienced that before, so it was very foreign to me. But anyways, all this to say that I'm back. I'm very happy. I did manage to do a little bit of art while I was away. But the thing is, the way her house is situated, the kind of only place that I had to work with was in the dining room, and that was like very far away from the windows, so I didn't have natural lighting. And she has beautiful chandeliers. Her house is gorgeous. She has beautiful chandeliers, but the lighting was yellowish, and I did not bring anything with me. I could have brought my little LED pad there, but I didn't. I didn't think I was going to have that problem. So it made it very difficult for me to film. I did manage to film a couple of videos, but they were quickies. Anyways, but I did art, although arting also was difficult because I do mostly watercolor, and if the reflection, if your lighting is not appropriate, the water is being the light reflects the water, or the water is being reflected by the light, but I think you know what I mean. I couldn't see anything because it was just all shiny, and I couldn't see the colors really well, so it was a challenge. I mean, I'm not complaining because I'm glad I went down there. We had a good time and all that, but that part of it was challenging, and I thought I was going to be able to keep up with the Joneses, but I couldn't. But anyways, all this to say that I have done a few pieces of art, which I'm going to show you at the end. I've already recorded them with my overhead camera. In addition to the artwork that I want to show you, I've also filmed a haul at the same time so that you can see what I bought in the US. Although I have to say I was quite disappointed and very surprised that the prices in the US are not much cheaper than here in Canada. And if I actually, in some cases, if I did the conversion from US to Canadian dollars, things were more expensive. And that like surprised me to no end. The one thing I've noticed is that when you order online in the US, it's cheaper. but when you buy in stores, it's not. So maybe that's the trend these days. I don't know. But I have a wonderful art supply store here, like a fine arts store in my area. So I'm very blessed by that because they have amazing prices. I went to Dick Blick's in Florida and I was a little bit disappointed, and I had such high expectations about that store. I was looking for an easel, like a tabletop easel, and they don't carry it in the store. They only carry it online. So that's why I'm saying I think it's better. Prices are much better online now than in actual stores. So yeah, I took advantage of that though to order from Jet Pens. We had to order like the very first day that we got there because she had redirected her mail. Anyways, it was a long story, but I ended up ordering from Jet Pens because I've had a lot of things in my basket, but I never pushed a button because here, when you buy from the States, sometimes you get nabbed by customs, and I didn't want to chance it. So anyways, you'll all see this at the end. I shouldn't be talking at length about this because you'll see that at the end. So the haul and the pieces of artwork that I have done. Before I show you what I've done since I got here, actually there's only one piece that I can show you. I've been sketching a lot, but my sketchbook is reserved for one of my patrons' rewards, so I can't really show you that. But I have one piece that I'm working on right now. It's not finished, so I'm not going to show you that. And I have one that I just finished for my patrons, but by the time you're seeing this, they will have seen the video, so I can show them to you, or it. Blech. Anyways, I've lost the ability to speak English, guys. It's so funny how, because my friend Diane is French, and so we spoke nothing but French for a month, actually. And so the very little English that I spoke in stores that did not really count. And so when I got back, I was talking with my daughter, and I was actually talking to her in French, and we never speak French to each other. We always speak English, and I find that when I wanted to speak English, I had a hard time. Very strange. A month, that's all it takes is a month. Wow. All right. So you remember this piece? This is an alcohol ink piece that I did before I left. I can't remember the date. I didn't put the date. There's a bad reflection here, so I'm going to show them. I'm going to show it to you like that here on this side. It's much better. So I had asked you guys to name that piece, and I wasn't going to do a giveaway, but it just turned out that way. I'm going to give, I've chosen a name. You guys have sent me suggestions, and they were all great, all of them. But there's one that really stuck to mind, and as soon as I saw it, I went, oh, that's it. So this piece is going to be named Kaika, which means blooming in Hawaiian, and I love Hawaii. So as soon as I saw this, I knew that this piece would be named Kaika, and the winner of this, and the person who chose that name is Amber Thompson. So Amber, if you're watching this, try to contact me. I will also try to contact you, but sometimes on YouTube it's difficult to send messages, so I'm hoping that you have your messaging turned on so I can contact you. But if you haven't heard from me by the time that you're watching this video, please send me a message or write in the comments where I can write to you so that I can send you a print of this piece, because my printer has been my screen has been calibrated to my printer now, so I can print proper prints, and that's it. Yeah. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the original. I think I might list it. I might put it up for sale at my Etsy store, but I'm not sure yet. Anyways, but Amber, thank you so much for this beautiful name. I love it, and you'll hear from me, or I'll hear from you, one or the other. Okay, so the only piece that I have to show you besides what you're going to see at the end is, as I've mentioned, the video reward, the first video reward for February. To my patrons. I love the piece so much, and I especially love the paper that I've used. So here, I'm going to show it to you. Here, it's close. It's a block. I love the deckled edge here, and it is called Canal Paper, And it is made here locally in Montreal. And it says here, multi-purpose paper, neutral pH, all cotton rag, ink and watercolor washes, acrylic, drawing, collage, and printing. And they sell it at my local art store, and I am so happy I bought it. The paper is amazing. I have bought paper from that company, but it was a much thicker paper. It was different. It was not as smooth. This one is super smooth. And I also bought a gray toned one, and I'm going to reserve that for, well, maybe I can do some watercolor on it, but it's mostly for pencil drawing and colored pencil drawings. But anyways, here's what I made with it. Oh, that's going to be tough for me to show you. But, oh, I love this piece so much. So much. So this is to demonstrate how to give depth to your watercolor pieces by introducing some lighter elements in the background and whatnot. It's lighting is not good. I'm sorry, guys. I do my best. But anyways, I will post it on Instagram. And if you want to see the making of this video, all you have to do is hop on over to my Patreon feed, and for $5 a month you can see this video and a whole bunch of videos. I've been on Patreon since November 2015, so there's a lot to be seen on there, exclusive stuff that you haven't seen here. Anyways, that is it, I think. Yes. Yeah. That's it. It's going to take me a while to get back into the groove of vlogging or sharing here. But I've missed it, and I'm pumped. I have full of ideas, and I hope to be back to normal as soon as possible. And as usual, I'm not making any promises anymore because I'm not good at keeping promises, or things happen and, you know, life happens. But the other thing I forgot, the other thing I want to share with you is that I have quit my part-time job. It's a big gamble. But as of the end of this week, I no longer work for that scrapbooking store, and which means that I'll have more time to dedicate to this YouTube channel, my wonderful patrons, and I have a few other projects in the works. So yeah, big life changes. Anyways, I am going to leave you with the haul and the show and tell of what I made in Florida. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below, and I will see you later. Bye. First, I'm going to start with my jet pens order. Because I was staying in Florida for almost 4 weeks, I took the advantage of that to order from jet pens. As you know, I live in Canada, and shipping rates are really expensive. But not only that, sometimes we get nabbed by customs. And I remember once I had ordered for myself and a friend of mine. That was many years ago, but nevertheless. And I had to pay $40 in customs. So that was not fun. I remembered. So I took advantage of the fact that I was there, and I ordered the very first few days that we were there, and it ended up taking a long time. I even paid, it's free shipping in the US, but I didn't want to risk the chance of the order getting in late. I ended up paying for priority mail, and it took a whole week to get there, which I don't think is normal. So I don't know what happened, but whatever. I got it. That's the main part. So of course you've all seen my Fine Tech paints sampling / swatching. I have a video. I'll link it in the iCard over there. But these are the colors that I got. I bought them by the unit. I got a few questions about that. I bought them by the unit. I did not buy sets, because jet pens also sell sets, but I purchased them by the unit because I already have the gold sets, and there's a few repeats in some of the sets, so I didn't want to risk that chance. And I ordered just the colors that I wanted. I went crazy. I have to admit, this is the biggest purchase that I bought there. But I was super reasonable. I was very proud of myself because we were out every day. But so here are the colors. They're great. I also want to mention that the video that I've put in the iCard there was recorded in Florida, and the lighting was not really proper for video making, so that's why I wanted to show you that chart here in my studio. But oh, I just love these colors and I can't wait to play with them. I did not play with them while I was down there. I'm quite surprised and shocked. And so additionally to these colors, I bought 2 empty cases because I knew I already had 6 over here, and I believe I ordered 1, 2, 3, 4, 16. So I figured, whoops, something's wiggling in there. That's not a good sign. Oh, this must be lavender then. Yeah, there's a couple of slots that are not, you know, they're quite loose. I don't know why, but anyways, yeah, so I knew I needed to fit my 6 in there with the other ones that I was buying. So that's why I went for the empty cases, and they weren't expensive, the cases, but of course I can't remember the prices, so I'm not good at prices. All right, so here's what they look like in the pens, and you can see that I have the stickers over there. So now I'm going to add the ones that I already have. I know I wanted that silver, sterling silver right here. So I'm just gonna pop that out, put that in here. Sterling silver is this one here. Some of the stickers were missing, so I ended up taking the stickers from the package, like, oops. These black ones there, they were not included in the sticker sheet, so I ended up taking the stickers on the plastic bag that these individual ones came in. Cool. And if I decide to add some more, these stickers seem to be repositionable. I was able to lift them up when I put them down crooked, so I'm assuming that if I decide to buy more and I buy another case and I want them in the order that they're in, I like to color coordinate my palettes. I can always like lift a sticker and put it in another case. So I'm going to hold on to these, and these are my palettes. Oh my gosh, I just love these colors so much. So I took advantage of the fact that I was ordering from JetPens, and I sort of emptied my basket, my shopping cart. I always do that. I like to shop online but not shop. I'm sure I'm not the only one that does that, but I'll end up going on Amazon or JetPens or whatever, and I will put stuff in my cart or my wish list, and I never press the button because I always question all the single purchases that I do. But like I said, because I was down there, I wasn't technically paying big charges. I decided to empty my basket. So this was in there for a while. This is Tomo River paper. This is awesome paper. It's super thin. I used it when I made an insert for my traveler's notebook. And I have the larger size, so I ended up having to cut the papers, but I wanted this size. You see how thin it is? You can see my hand a bit. But the cool thing about Tomo River paper is that it holds up to fountain pens and inks, which I don't know how that works, but it does. And so I ordered the smaller size, and this one is 5 3/4, or just about 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. Don't do that, it's fragile. I just learned that. It's okay, I'll still use the other side. I don't know why they put that sticky on this side. I hate it when they do that. They shouldn't put the sticky on the flap. They should use bags that have the stickies on the actual envelope. But anyway, so this is Tomo River paper, and if you're familiar with Hobonichi's Techo planners, or I think all Hobonichi planners do have that type of paper, but that's what they use, Tomo River paper. This is Traveler's Notebook. This is an insert. Again, I've had this in my stash for a while. I'm not sure what kind of paper it is in there. Let's see. Yeah, it is kind of like the Tomo River paper. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it is Tomo River. Maybe not. It's not as translucent as the other one, but you can still see a little bit of my fingers through that. So, because, believe it or not, I am one of the lucky people that managed to get an olive edition of the Traveler's Notebook that was quite a while ago. I have one of my homemade inserts in there. I've made a video on this on how I did the covers for these booklets. And I wanted, oops, I'm going to take this on the road with me in July. I'm going away again in July. And so I want to have as many inserts as I can so that I don't run out. Finally, I ordered some pens because jet pens, right? So this is a reorder. This is my favorite white paint pen. It's the Uniposca Ultra Tip, the round tip. I'm not sure if it's because I ordered from Jet Pens and they do carry the Japanese, all of the Japanese brands, but mine come just with the Japanese writing. There's no mention of the tip on there, but I do know that that's what I ordered. So I'm not concerned about that. Next, I have this series of pens because I'm always on the lookout for black markers that I can use in my watercolors for doodling. And so you need permanent markers, it helps. So these are by a brand called Yasutomo, and they're called Perma Writers. And I ordered them in the tips 00, 01, sorry, 03 and 05. So the 00, they call it super fine. The 01 is extra fine. This is fine, and that's medium. But here they are, and I'm going to swatch them for you because they write super, super fine. The 00 is unbelievably fine. Oops. I'm going to show them to you in up close and personal. I just want to do that. So this is the 01. There's a big, big, big jump from the 00 to the 01, I find. 03. And I also found that the tip is very porous, so I have a feeling they would wear out very fast. Although the felt on this, come on, focus, is quite short. So maybe it won't, maybe it has more support, but this is what it looks like. So the first one, of course, is 00, then 01, 03, and 05. So I'm quite excited to try those on my paintings. The next one I have is the Pilot High-Tech C. I love these pens. This one is the 0.25 tip, and in the red. I have it in the kind of like sky blue. Sorry about that. And here, I'm gonna swatch it and compare it to the 00 of the Perma, is that what it's called? Perma Writer, yeah. So it's super tiny, like very tiny. And I love that for sketching in my sketchbook. So quite happy with this one. And then the last thing I purchased is this, although funny enough, I don't remember purchasing it. It must have been in my basket for a while and I kind of forgot about it. It's called Thin Line. Let me see the description here. So this is the Akashia Sai Thin Line Brush Pen. It's extra fine and it's got Sumi black ink. So let me just take it out of the package. I like the barrel. I think it's super thin, super sleek, made of kind of like a metal-ish looking plastic. Oh, and you can make like thin and thick line. Oh, yeah. So Sumi Ink is kind of like a black, like, it's not a super dark black. This is what it looks like. Oh, I love the look of that. Love it. It almost fades to a gray. I bought the Micron, Pigment Micron in the 005 tip in the blue. See, 005. Come on. Yeah. And I mistakenly bought a second one at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I can't remember, but I have double. It's a nice blue though. Here, let me swatch it. It's like a turquoisey blue. It's very pretty. And I also bought an Oscoda watercolor brush. This one is in the size 0. It's a Kolinsky Tajmir bristles, because I'm looking for a nice short bristles detail brush. I have my favorite, which is the Wahong. It's a little bit mangled because I had it in my carrying case, but this is my favorite to line for lining, but sometimes I find it's a little bit too blunt at the tip. This one is a little bit more pointy, so I can't wait to try this. Next we went to Dick Blick's, and I have to say I was a little bit disappointed in Dick Blick's. I had high hopes to find the tabletop easel that I've been wanting to get. It's called the Art Sphere by Dalarani. They don't carry it in the store. It's an item that's available online, at least not at the branch that I went to in Florida. So anyways, I managed to find something that I've been meaning to get for a while. This was on my Amazon to be purchased list. This is a battery operated eraser, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to use that when I do portraits, especially if I want to create some white hair. I'll put a photo here of this portrait that I did, and when I had to do the gray hair, it was very, very difficult because I had to work in subtraction mode, and if I had had this, I mean, it's cheating, but it would have been a good cheat, a good way to cheat. So anyways, I bought that. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the refills for this, so I'm hoping that I can find them online. And I also bought this Magic Rub eraser by Prismacolor. My friend and I both were under the impression that it would erase colored pencils, and so I'm going to swatch that for you because I have not tried it. And I'm going to scribble. See if it works. I haven't tried it, so. No. I think what it does is it blends, but it doesn't erase per se. Well, maybe a little bit. I don't think it was meant to erase colored pencils. I think it was it's just an eraser by the brand, by the Prismacolor brand, I believe. I have this mono eraser by Tombow, and this is a sand eraser, and I do believe this erases colored pencils. Yeah. But this is very abrasive. Of course, it's made of, well, they call it sand eraser. I'm not sure that it is, in fact, made of sand, but it does erase colored pencils. Next we went to Hobby Lobby. Actually, several Hobby Lobby stores. We hit them quite often, probably once or twice a week. And I was very happy when Diane decided to go there because I had seen Zandra either vlogged about this, excuse me, or tweet about this, but the FW Daler Rowney acrylic inks were on crazy special. Look at this price. $1.49 each. And I do have quite a few in my collection, but I picked up colors that I knew I didn't have. And so I got Flesh Tint, Sepia, Purple Lake, Indigo, Flame Orange, Genesis Green, Indian Yellow, Payne's Gray, which I was very excited to find, Crimson, Sap Green. So these are all the inks that, I mean, I could have bought a whole bunch of other ones, but you know, at some point in time you gotta stop. Next I found these cute paper clips. They're shaped like pineapples, and I love pineapples. I think they're cute, so this would be fun to use in my planner. I also have found these decorative tapes. I fell in love with these. Terrariums, succulents in terrariums, and rose gold hearts. Quite cute. Then I bought 2 sets of cheapy brushes because when I use them with alcohol inks, I don't want to ruin my good brushes, and I figured these would be good to use with alcohol inks. And by the way, I know that my alcohol inks videos are very popular, but I'm not going to do another one until the spring hits and I can actually open my windows without freezing. Because the last time I did the video, honestly I struggled, guys. The rubbing alcohol was so strong because it's 99% that I use. Even the blending solution is too strong for me. So I'm gonna wait until springtime, but it is coming because, well, spring is coming, but I have the brushes, at least I'm ready for it. I also found this tiny porcelain tulip shaped mixing bowl for my watercolors. I do work with a bigger one, but sometimes I have a lot of stuff on my desk and I would love a smaller one because I really don't need big wells like this. And I don't know, I just thought it was cute and it was a good price. I can't remember how much I paid, but it was really not expensive. So now I have 2, and it would be useful to have 2. I do work on several projects at a time sometimes, and you don't necessarily want to clean up your palette because most often than not when you stop you have quite a good amount of paint in there. So at least I have 2 to work with. I also found some sticky notes, and I liked the color scheme, and I especially like flags like this. I use those a lot in my reference books and stuff like that. So I don't know, I just fell in love with the color. It was only $2.99 for all of this, which is a lot cheaper than the regular post-it notes. Then I found this Memo Pads. So it's 2 thick Memo Pads for $1.99. That's also at Hobby Lobby. So that was a good find. And I also bought 2 Pigma Micron pens. These are 005 again. And I bought this thinking that it was, I couldn't remember that I had bought it from Jet Pen, so I have double. That's okay, I like the color. And this is kind of like a purplish color here. Let me swatch that for you. And the blue. The blue is really pretty. It's kind of like this turquoisey blue. And they write really fine, which I like. So these 2. And that's it for, oh no, I found something else at Hobby Lobby. So that one, that was awesome. The very last time that we went to Hobby Lobbies, I went back to that aisle where they have coloring books. I don't buy coloring books. I have some from way back, like years before people started coloring like crazy. I was already buying adult coloring books. But this book here I took notice of it every time we went by and I didn't buy it. And then finally on the last day, Diane says, you have a 40% off coupon. Buy this book because otherwise you'll regret it. And she was right. I'm very happy to have bought it. It was $22.50, and like I said, I used a 40% off coupon. This is Layla Dooley's, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, Layla Dooley maybe, Floribanda flower coloring book, and look at her illustrations, so beautiful. The book is amazing. She has examples of her coloring, I guess, of the flowers that she included in this book. And it's kind of like the book is separate from the cover. And each page is like super thick pages. You can probably watercolor on this, although the absorption might be a little bit different than watercolor paper, but it's thick cardstock. I tested it out here. I used the Jane Davenport's Mermaid markers, and it doesn't show through. So I wanted to do a little test here. But the images are amazing. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but they're absolutely stunning. And she has the names of the flowers down here. I can see coloring this and framing those. Like this would make great wall hangings. Look at that one. It's just absolutely stunning. And then she has a photo in the back here as a reference, and all these other flowers referenced in there. So that was pure indulgence. And the other indulgence, but not really, it's something that I'm going to need in when July comes. I use a planner that's called Passion Planner, and it's one that's not dated, so you know, you write the dates in yourself. And I started using it last July, and the whole planner is for 12 months, but come end of June, I will not have a planner, and it's not one of those that you can remove the insert. I bought the old, the original format, so here, I'm going to show you. So that's my current planner. I love it. It's gorgeous. I love the cover. I think it's real leather. I'm not sure, but if it's not, it's a very darn good imitation. And you know, I love it. I really do. But it comes to an end in June, and those are quite pricey. So I saw this at Barnes & Noble, and I fell in love, first of all, with the illustrations inside. But this is a 52-week planner. It's undated. You write your own dates in there, but the illustrations, the style is so pretty. And it's called Breathe Special Journal 52-week planner. And here's the back. And it's got like one of those flip outs that you can write dates to remember. Really well constructed. I really like the way it's presented. Look at these beautiful drawings. And so this is going to be my new planner as of July of this year. And I ran out of paper. I forgot about that. I ran out of paper. I ran out of watercolor paper, I should say. So that's that for the portion of the haul. Next I want to show you the artwork that I did while I was down there, and I didn't paint as much as I thought I would, but I'm going to show you what I did anyways. And I made a lot of boo-boos, and I have a pile of rejects here that I'm going to turn into pretties. Definitely. So anyway, so this is a study of palm trees. She's got a beautiful property down there, or she used to, because she sold it. But I was so fascinated by all the beautiful manicured landscapes there, and the palm trees. Oh my gosh, like I took a lot of photos. I'm gonna do more paintings. This was kind of like a practice, because in that palm tree there's several kinds of palms. So this is just for me, just for the fun of it. But I love the activity. I like doing that. I like the, of course, you know, I like lines and details. So palm trees, I guess, fascinate me for that reason. You know, they're just a bunch of lines, and but they're so graceful, so beautiful. And in the back here, I tried to capture one of those pods. I guess these are the flowers of the palm trees, or some palm trees. And but then I ended up covering it with that palm anyways. But yeah, I liked it. And then I did kind of like a roof line here, rooftops of houses, just to establish the horizon. But I like the way it turned out, although, you know, it's different colors, like the fronds are not even the same colors. But anyways, it was a lot of fun to do. Next I did this one. This one was really popular on Instagram. I have little pots of rose gold here. And for some reason, I remember this painting being a lot more vivid when I was there. I'm not sure if it was because the way the light reflected on the green looked a little bit, I wouldn't say more yellowish, but I see it here and it looks a lot more subdued than I thought, which is funny. Here, I'm gonna give you some detail shots here. I love this painting so much. Lines again, fun. And then more lines. This is a cityscape and I decided to represent the buildings with a bunch of lines. There's a lot of mistakes on this. I don't know if you noticed, but there's some stuff hiding in there. I had done some windows in white ink and I hated it. So I decided to go over them. I like the idea of the building going into the clouds. And that was a lot of fun, but I want to kind of like redo those. These are practice pieces. I like them, but I use them a lot to experiment. But I like them kind of like, not fluid, but abstract of the trees as opposed to well-defined lines in the background. I like the juxtaposition of those two together, so I like that painting a lot. But like I said, I want to do some more in that style because it was fun. And then I'm gonna hide my boo-boos. And then I did these two, which I am in love with. This was so much fun to do. They're all watercolors, and I ended up taking a colored pencil to do the shading just on the flower pods. I call them flower pods for lack of a better term. But I wanted to practice here. I wanted to practice layering leaves. And so I have like very faint ones in the background. I'm hoping that you can see that. And then I have the main ones, and then I have the darker ones in the front. And then the flowers are kind of like snuck in between there. Same as this one here. This one I struggled because when I did these foliage, I'm not sure what they are, I ended up covering that leaf in the back here and it looked very weird, so I had to do something about it. So it's kind of like overworked, but I really love, despite that, I love how it turned out. So little twinsies. And then I made several boo-boos and practice sheets at the same time. So this was going to be a painting, and I was quite happy with the way it turned out at the beginning, and then I started layering too much paint on top, and then it just looked like an acrylic painting, and I didn't like it. So I just started practicing some strokes randomly here and there. And this one too, this was just a practice sheet of, you know, just to see some of the colors layering, how they would look together, brush strokes practice, yada yada yada. This is a mess. It took me a while to find my rhythm down there, and I think it's normal just because, you know, you're not home, you're not in your studio. When you're used to working in a certain way, it's very difficult to, for me anyways, it's very difficult to work on the fly and somewhere else. So I'm not sure exactly what it was supposed to be originally. Don't ask me, I can't even remember. And then I used the white ink to just do circles. These all will be turned into pretties, so I'm not concerned about what they look like right now. This was just a practice sheet. I was swatching some greens together and I was practicing brush strokes of palm trees. Color schemes that turned into nothingness. And then this was originally these two, believe it or not. So this is the infancy stage, I want to say, and this is the finished product. As you can see, I ended up dropping a lot of colors in there, and I did the background. Excuse me, everything was going fine, and then I started doing some bad moves, and then I decided to use it to practice some brush strokes. So that's why, like, you're seeing different like splotches of colors and stuff going over each other. That was just because I was at the stage where I knew I wasn't going to use that, and then I decided to practice some, you know, brush strokes and color schemes and see which ones I liked best. But these will all be turned into pretties or something else one day, and that's pretty much it for the show and tell.